everyone, Spicy Gecko here. Today, I am going to be starting a tier list for every single Pokemon in Open Great League. Before I begin, let's go over the tiers. Core meta, of course, is the stuff that you'd expect to see all the time, like Azumarill and G-Fisk and all that kind of stuff. Meta is stuff that isn't quite core, but still definitely is part of meta, I would say, like Hypno, or, maybe Swampert, I guess. Swampert isn't really core, but definitely part of the meta. Kind of spicy is stuff that's kind of, rare, I guess, like Toxicroak or Obstagoon, but isn't really that spicy either. Spicy, of course, is regular spice, like Gastrodon, that we love to see. Extremely spicy, very risky, stuff like Charm Liepard, which you can use. You might get some success, but very tricky. You have to be very skilled to get it to work. Not very good, as well, not very good. Bad is just where the bad Pokemon go, that maybe have like one or two good traits, we'll say, and horrible is just awful. They have nothing going for them at all. And finally, we have this not available in Great League category, which I'm going to eventually delete, but just put everything in now, so organizing this tier list is easier for me. So let's start with Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur is actually bad, I would say, maybe. It has an okay stat, it has a pretty low stat product, I guess, but it can beat Mud Boys, that's something. Ivysaur is kind of spicy, and Venusaur is meta, I would say for sure. Venusaur is one of those common grasses in Open Great League, very popular. Now, Venusaur, what's great with Venusaur is that Sludge Bomb coverage lets it hit flying types like Altaria, but it's still kind of screwed against Skarmory, which definitely hurts it. Now, about Megas, I know they're not available in Go Battle League, but in Open Great League tournaments and drafts, they can be allowed sometimes. So we're going to include Mega Venusaur as kind of spicy, just because it's overall slightly worse than regular Venusaur, but it's Glacier, so either or. Charmander is horrible. Just for the record, guys, I am not going to bother going over why every Pokemon I put in horrible is horrible. Just because of its really low stats, I don't think I should have to elaborate every single time. Charmeleon gets to be an extremely spicy. I think it has some play and some, it's not a super good fire, but it has okay moves. Fire Fang, I think some kind of spam move like Body Slam. I think it gets Body Slam. I might be checking that later, but I'm pretty sure it's not the worst. Charizard is kind of spicy. It's not really meta, but it's got okay bulk, really good moves. I'll let it in. Right now, though, it's kind of just worse Talonflame, but actually, is it? It's like a different thing. I don't know why I said that. Fire Flying. That was stupid. Obviously, Gigantamax is not in the game yet. I think both Charizards are in the spicy rank, the Mega Charizards. I think, though, X is a little better than Y because X is part Dragon. Squirtle is a kind of bulky for a first form starter, but I wouldn't use it unless you're using like a Squirtle meme team or something. Or Tortle is also extremely spicy. Blastoise, I think, is just regular spicy. It's got Hydro Cannon and Water Gun, which is a pretty decent combination. Along with Mega Blastoise, we'll put them there together. Horrible, of course, Caterpie and Metapod, they're very weak, I don't need to explain why. Butterfree is, well, it's a bug and flying with confusion, so it's an amazing counter, but other than that, it's got some pretty mediocre charge moves. We'll put it extremely spicy. Weedle and Kakuna, of course, are way too weak to ever be used. Beedrill, on the other hand, I can say that Beedrill is probably the best of all these bugs right now because Poison Jab, Fell Stinger, Drill Run lets it hit a ton of stuff in Great League, and its high attack actually kind of works in its favor because all those fast, spammy moves deal a ton of damage. So, Beedrill, unfortunately, I don't think it's even really meta or even that common, so I think Beedrill deserves to be called just plain spicy. Mega Beedrill is extremely spicy. It's even glassier than Beedrill, but overall it's kind of just outclassed almost entirely by Shadow Beedrill. So Mega Beedrill is going to be extremely spicy for now. It is still usable, for sure. Pidgeot is kind of spicy. I mean, I don't see that often, but it has great matchups against the Great League meta. I know it exists. Some people use it in teams. So, and it is, I'm going to put it in kind of spicy. Gust, what other moves does it have? It has Wing Attack, I guess, if you want faster energy. It has Feather Dance and Brave Bird, which are great moves. It gets kind of walled by Steals and Rocks, but other than that, I would say that Pidgeot is just kind of spicy. Regular Pidgeot, Mega Pidgeot, it's just spicy because it's Glacier Pidgeot. I don't really have a lot to add to that one. The whole Rattata family goes down here, except for Raticate, Alola Raticate, who has slightly better moves and isn't like rank 600 or something like these three are. But overall, I wouldn't bother with Alola and Raticate either. Fearow has some really interesting charge moves, but it's stuck with Steel Wing as its best fast move, which is not really something you want. So I'm going to put it in the bad category. With a buff to Steel Wing could easily become like extremely spicy because, you know, dual run coverage against ground, electrics is amazing, and steals. Arbok, I'm going to put in extremely spicy. It has Dragon Tail shenanigans and Acid Spray, but that can take a while to charge up, and it gets walled by a lot. Pikachu gets to be in bad, not horrible, because it has Flying Press, which I think that actually beats Registeel or something insane like that. So, yeah, that's really good. Raichu, I want to say, is kind of spicy. I've seen occasionally in Open Great League. It has some really fast moves. There's Volt Switch, I think. Brick Break, which sucks ass, but it's also good bait. I think it is Wild Charge too, which always hurts, especially from Raichu's attacks. Alola Raichu, is it meta anymore after, you know, Gal dropped, G-Fisk arrived? This is a tough one. I know it's definitely more popular than Raichu. I think Raichu itself should actually be in spicy. Yeah, no, actually I'm gonna move it around a little bit. This thing is meta. It's not common meta, but it's good enough. It's definitely better than Raichu here because the Psychic typing helps against counter users. Sandshrew is extremely spicy. It's kind of bulky, I think, and it has Sand Tomb and Return combo, not bad at all. But Alola Shrew is definitely better, so it gets to be in spicy. I think Sand Slash is just not very good. It just has poor moves. Alola Sand Slash has Ice Punch and Powder Snow, great combination. I think Blizzard too, you want to catch stuff off guard, so it can be in spicy along with Alola Sandshrew. Too small. I think Nidorina is just a worse Nidoqueen, but still not bad, so we will put it in extremely spicy. Nidoqueen is absolutely meta. This thing, I've seen it probably a couple times, maybe like twice a Great League set at minimum, so yeah, that thing stays in. Nidorino is extremely spicy because it's, actually, I'm just gonna put it not very good. It's worse Nidorina. And Nidoking itself is in spicy. It's better than these two Nidos because it's kind of like Nidoqueen, like a Glacier Nidoqueen with some stuff like a Mega Horn and Sand Tomb that Nidoqueen doesn't have access to in Fury Cutter. So I would say it's definitely worth using, but hard to argue for it over Nidoqueen. Clefable, I think all the Charmers should kind of just go together in meta, right? Because they all pretty much do the exact same thing, all of them. Vulpix goes in horrible because it's too small. Ninetales, I barely see Ninetales. I'm gonna put it in kind of spicy because it can definitely put in a lot of work. It handles the meta pretty well, but isn't really part of the meta either. Alola Ninetales is definitely meta, no doubt about that. Charm and Powder Snow are both pretty good fast moves, and it has that really good spammy Weather Ball of Ice. You love to see it. Wigglytuff is another Charmer. It being part normal is interesting because it doesn't resist counter anymore, but it also completely walls ghost types, so it's probably one of the most unique charmers in Great League for that reason alone. Golbat is kind of spicy. I mean, it's got pretty good moves. It's best I can say. I think it's got okay bulk as well. Oddish. We're gonna put it in spicy. It's kind of like a slightly weaker Razor Leafer, but you can make it work. Gloom and Vileplume both do the exact same thing with Razor Leaf, basically, so I think we can both put them in kind of spicy. Razor Leaf isn't really that big a deal in the Great League meta anymore, as opposed to Charm. Charm is just better now. Parasect, I think, is just not very good, because it has really good moves. It's spammy and fast, but its typing just completely fucking sucks, and it has no bulk at all. So we're gonna put Parasect in not very good. Venomoth, I think, goes in extremely spicy. It does wall fighters like Butterfree, and it's honestly, maybe it should be spicy. It's definitely better than Butterfree, because of Poison Fang and Return Nukes, if you want to go that route. These two are really weak. Doug Trio, I think it goes in the bad tier. Actually goes in not very good because it has access to Mud Shot. So I guess it has like a couple of perks to it. Alola Doug Trio is just in bad because it doesn't even have Mud Shot. Meowth is bad. All the Meowths are bad because they're tiny. Not the game. Persian, I think it just has Scratch or something. Not even really that spammy either. We'll put it in a horrible. All of Persian gets being bad because of their better coverage and typing, along with Psyduck here, because Psyduck caps out like 1300 or something and has pretty decent moves, but other than that, not a whole lot to say. Golduck is extremely spicy. It's very frail, but it has good defensive typing and a wide move pool that is actually pretty good. Mankey is here. Primeape is kind of spicy because it's a good fighter. Machamp is probably better than it. Machamp is probably a meta. We'll get to that later. But Primeape is weaker, but it has arguably better moves, or at least better baiting moves. Is Ice Punch. Flyers don't like to see that. Might scare Altaria. Arcanine is unfortunately, we'll go with extremely spicy. Fantastic moves. Snarl, Flamethrower, and Wild Charge, but unfortunately it's just really, really glassy with bad defensive typing. It's probably going to die before it gets to do Wild Charges most of the time. Poliwhirl is, man, I guess not very good. Just because it has to rely on Scald and like Mud Bomb or some shit. It does a Mud Shot though, that's something. So we'll keep it down here. But Poliwrath is definitely spicy, but still viable in Great League for sure. It's got Dynamic Punch, it's got Mud Shot, Bubble, Ice Punch, Scald, all pretty good moves. Horrible. Kadabra is just like a mediocre confusion user. We're gonna put it in bad. Could be an argument for that. Alakazam is extremely spicy because it has Counter and Fire Punch and Shadow Ball and Psychic. Those are all pretty good moves, and if Alakazam was bulky, it could probably be like spicy or kind of spicy even, but it's just a little bit too weak. Is Mega Alakazam the game? I don't think it is. I've never seen it. Chop is not very good. It's an okay fighter, but it only has Return as coverage. Machoke we're going to put in extremely spicy as well. Machamp, on the other hand, is probably like legit meta, especially Shadow Machamp, because it spams stuff really fast, and Rock Slide definitely can fuck with fighters. Bellsprout is pretty weak. Weepinbell is kind of just a worse Victory Bell, so it's going to go in spicy along with Victory Bell. I think when you use XLs on a Weepinbell, it comes close to Victory Bell stats. Tentacruel is straight up spicy. It does absolutely hard counter Azumarill, but other than that, even with all the poison buffs, it's still not that great. Geodude is extremely spicy. While Alola Graveler, I think, and Alolan Golem are just regular spicy because they have better typing and access to Wild Charge, which is an amazing move. Now, Ponyta, where do we put this thing? I'm going to go with not very good. They're kind of just worse versions of their evolved forms, who are themselves extremely spicy. Slowpoke, I think, is actually really weak. I don't think it hits 1000 CP or something. It's really low CP, so we're going to put it in not very good, along with the Galar form. Slowpoke is extremely spicy, you mean Slowbro, along with its Mega. These guys have it kind of good with spammy moves. Magnemite, extremely spicy because Return can definitely hit a lot of stuff super hard. Along with Magneton. Magneton might just be spicy because it's got better moves as well. Farfetch, unfortunately, is bad. Not really anything positive going for it. So it stays in bad for now. Galar Farfetch'd is Starfetch'd at worse, but it's also better than regular Farfetch'd because it has some pretty good moves like Brave Bird and Leaf Blade. So maybe it should be extremely spicy. I think it could get away with using that and winning in like a legit game or something. Doduo goes in not very good. I think it's just like, actually wait, no, extremely spicy. It has like Wing Attack and Brave Bird or something, which lets it see some kind of use. Dodrio has the same thing going on. Seal is tiny. Dugong is meta for sure. It's kind of rare just because it requires double XL moves, but you can definitely it definitely has its place in the meta for sure. The Grimers are spicy. They are quite bulky and have good moves, so we're going to put them together in spicy. And the Mucks are extremely spicy. Actually, Alola Muck is about on the same level as Alolan Grimer, just because it has Snarl, which is amazing. Cloyster is a lot less bulky than Dugong, so it's worse, but it also has Hydro Pump instead of Water Pulse. Dugong wishes a Hydro Pump, so yeah, it gets to be in spicy. Haunter and Ghastly actually hits like the Great League cap, but it has horrible moves and only has a 20% win rate, so it sucks. Haunter is kind of spicy along with Gengar. They both have very good moves, very spammy, but also very frail. They're one of those Pokemon make being spammy and frail actually kind of work. And Gengar, here's the thing, Gengar itself is slightly bulkier than Haunter, but Mega Gengar goes back to Haunter viability, but with a Focus Blast as an addition, so you could get spicy with that. Onix actually does have a lot of good potential, but the problem is that it's very expensive, but it is bulky with a good moveset like Smackdown, Sand Tomb, and Stone Edge, I believe, or Rock Slide, which is a pretty good moveset, so it gets to be an extremely spicy. Hypno. Where did I say this thing goes? I kind of see it sometimes, so it gets being kind of spicy. Krabby's too weak. Kingler is unfortunately in the not very good category because it does a lot of damage, but it's also very, very weak to pretty much anything. So it stays there. Gigantamax Kingler as well. Voltorb is small, but Electrode, I think Electrode is just like a spicy electric type because it has access to foul play, which is interesting. It beats a lot of other electric types as well. And it has that Hyper Beam Spice to catch people off guard. Execute has a lot of good meta wins, but is also kind of weak. So we're going to put it in extremely spicy along with Exeggutor. Alola Exeggutor is better than his other two though, because Grass and Dragon and spammier moves. So it gets to be in spicy. Cubone, Marowak has a very limited coverage. It is kind of bulky though, so it gets to be a not very good. Alola Marowak, on the other hand, is actually, I would say, it's not meta anymore just because after the Shadow Bone nerf and G-Fisk showing up everywhere, it's not really meta anymore. Hitmonlee is bad. It does a lot of damage, but there's not really a good reason to use it. But Hitmonchan is definitely spicy for sure, but a lot of good meta wins again. It has a lot of varied coverage with its punches. It can also go power punch or close combat. Now here we go, our first truly major. Is it core meta? It's not even core, I would say. Actually, yeah, it is. I take it back. Lickitung is core meta. It's the best Pokemon we've gotten to so far. It beats a lot of the meta. Azumarill, I believe. Coughing, I think, is just not very good. Doesn't max very high. Along with Wheezing. Galarian Wheezing is fucking dog shit because it only has tackle and moves that take a while to charge up. These two Pokemon are basically the same, Rhyhorn and Rhydon, and they have awful typing and can't really do a whole lot with awful moves, so they are in bad. They do have okay bulk. Chansey is weird because it's really good with some shield situations and really bad with others, but I would say overall it is meta. So, it's because it's so freaking bulky. Tangela is extremely spicy. It's an okay grass type, but definitely outdone by a lot of others. Kangaskhan is just not very good. It's really good in Kanto Cup, but in Open Great League, Mud Slap is not a super good move on a non-ground type, and its coverage options are kind of lacking too. Like its spammiest move, I think, is Power Punch or Stomp, and Stomp is Legacy, so I would not spend an Elite TM on that and kind of just use something else. Seadra, I don't even know what the fuck Seadra does. It's kind of just a worse Kingdra, I want to say. Maybe extremely spicy, or not very good. I'm kind of torn on this one. Goldeen is small. It's bad. Seaking, on the other hand, is probably kind of spicy. It used to beat the Azumarill, Altaria, Registeel core really well, but now that core kind of doesn't really exist anymore. Starmie is bad for sure. Not super good moves. Very, very frail. Not worth it. Mr. Mime is just a worse Gardevoir, really. It's got Confusion, that's something. I don't even think it has Charm. I think Galarian Mr. Mime is also here too, but I didn't sell my soul for a DLC, so I don't know. Scyther's just bad. Worse Butterfree. Jinx is in the super spicy category. Gets Confusion, Ice Punch, and Focus Blast. Those are all pretty good. Electabuzz and Magmar are not very good. They have very poor stats, very poor coverage, and just not that great moves in general. Pinsir, on the other hand, genuinely decent spice. It's got spammy moves. It's got Fury Cutter, Super Power, Mega. I don't think it has Mega Horn, but I think it is like. Does it have Mega Horn? I feel like it has something else I'm forgetting right now, but it is definitely spicy. Tauros. Oh yeah, Tauros is dog shit. Never used that. Gyarados, I don't know if it's that good in open. We're gonna put it under extremely spicy for now. Yeah, that sounds about right. Mega Gyarados goes in not... Is it? Oh yeah, it is available. But it goes in extremely spicy because Water and Dark is worse typing than Water and Flying, because it doesn't have a weakness to electric types anymore, but, I mean, double weakness, but it still loses to them anyway. And it doesn't resist counter. It really only picks up Jellicent for Mega Evolving. Lapras isn't really meta at all, but is kind of spicy, because it definitely has a lot of play in Great League. I wouldn't call it spice, so yeah, I'll put it there. I don't even think that it was available in Great League, so it goes there. Eevee is not horrible. Vaporeon actually is okay in Great League. It's just a lot of other water types do its thing better, so it gets to being spicy, I would say. Good stats, decently spammy moveset. I think Aqua Jet is better than Scald, though. Scald was kind of overhyped. Even people knew that Scald was going to be buffed, but even with that in mind, it's just not worth it. Okay, Jolteon is worse than most meta electric types. It's not very good. It is probably better than Electabuzz, but that's not saying a whole lot. Zap Cannon hurts, but that might be tricky to get off. They're probably gonna see Zap Cannon coming. Along with Flareon, because Flareon has Super Power, Fire Spin, and Fire Blast, which sounds pretty good, but it's still just kind of weak. Porygon gets to be in the It's unfortunately not a very good category. I think with Quick Attack, it could be interesting. I'm not super familiar with Quick Attack Porygon because no one has one. If you do have one, though, let me know. I've been looking for one of those things forever just because I love Porygon, but it doesn't really have anything to offer against the meta, so unfortunately it's not very good. Ammonite is kind of an extremely spicy, I want to say, along with Amistar. They have a very similar moveset. Omnite has Brine, which is okay, which I guess is a difference. Kabuto is way too frail and has no nukes, but is quite spammy. That's his only redeeming factor. Which is kind of what this tier is for, just stuff with like 1 or 2 redeeming factors. And Kabutops is the opposite problem, where it has pretty much only nukes and Water Pulse. If this thing got Razor Shell, it could probably be fun spice, but Kabutops is unfortunately not that good. Aerodactyl is interesting. Like, Shadow Aerodactyl is a great rock thrower, so it gets to be in spicy for sure. I think you could use it somehow. Not in the game yet. Snorlax is just kind of... Snorlax I wouldn't say is part of the meta. It's a good safe swap, but Munchlax does its job slightly better, I would say, and that's not even meta as well. Articuno is not super good against the Great League meta, but it's like good in a vacuum, but against the meta, it's just kind of bad. Extremely spicy. Zapdos used to be really, really good because it beat Azumarill and Registeel and had good flying coverage. We're gonna put in kind of spicy now. It's not super meta because G-Fisk is a thing and pretty common too, but Zapdos is really good. I think it deserves more use. Moltres. Moltres we're gonna put in spicy. It's got Fire Spin and Sky Attack, which is a pretty good combo. Dratini, of course, is too small. Dragonair, I would say, is solid spice. Dragon Breath, Wrap is bait, I believe, or Aqua Tail. And I think it is Outrage 2 or some other Dragon Nuke. It's definitely worth considering. Dragonite, I think Dragonite is frailer than Dragonair and has flying typing, but also has Dragon Claws spam, so I'd say these two are both about in the same level, but for different reasons. U2 is extremely spicy. It can hit really hard as a Shadow. As a matter of fact, Shadow's the only way you're getting one in Great League. These two are not in the game. Mew is really good. It's like in a kind of spicy range where it's not very common, but you know, you see one in a Great League team and think, oh, that makes sense. And that's because it's got an amazing moveset and okay defensive typing. Chikorita is too small. Actually, Chikorita might just be like along with Bulbasaur and just kind of bad. Bayleaf, on the other hand, is very bulky, has Ancient Power, Spam, and Razor Leaf, so we're going to put in kind of spicy. I think it's just not seen very often because if you have Chikorita XLs, you're going to be building a Meganium instead. And speaking of Meganium, I think it might actually legit be meta. It's like a rival to Venusaur, kind of. They're both bulky grasses with coverage. Earthquake is arguably a better move than Sludge Bomb, but it gets walled by flyers, so it's not good. Quilava, I don't really know what to say about Quilava. I guess it's extremely spicy. Yeah, I've had like a few guesses on this tier list just because, you know, when you're ranking every single Pokemon in the whole game or have existed ever, you gotta make a couple guesses because I'm not familiar with all 893. It's gonna be huge. Typhlosion is just spicy because it is two really good fast moves, Shadow Claw and Incinerate. And you can use Blast Burn and Solar Beam. Those are moves that cover each other pretty well. The only problem is it kind of gets screwed over by dragons. Croconaw is interesting. A friend of mine found out recently that it has Ice Punch and Water Gun, which is a pretty good combination. But other than that, yeah, it kind of goes extremely spicy as well because it doesn't beat a ton of meta stuff. For Alligator, Feraligatr is great because it's got high attack along with Waterfall and Hydro Cannon, so it gets to be spicy as well. Waterfall, Hydro Cannon, Ice Beam, great combination. It does a lot of damage very fast. If Furret had a fast move that wasn't like Rock Smash, it would probably be pretty good, but unfortunately it's stuck down here. Hoot is bad. Noctowl is pretty spicy, I think. It's kind of spicy. It's not extremely spicy, but it's bulky. It's got I think Confusion or Air, not Air Slash, Confusion or Wing Attack. Shadow Ball, I believe. No, Nightshade. It's alright. Lediand. Now, it's another one of those Pokemon that performs pretty well, but it's very rare because it's hard to build. I am going to put it in Spicy. It's got amazing bulk. I think it can even live a Stone Edge from Bastiodon, or so I've heard. I might be wrong on that one, but it is very bulky. Ariados is legit Spice now because of the Lunge buff, so it gets to be in Spicy. Yeah, there we go. It's the best Ariados has ever been since like 2000. Crobat is literally just worse Golbat, so it goes in not very good. Chinchou is also... Chinchou is... It's kind of like Lantern, but slightly weaker, but in exchange it gets Bubble Beam, so you could use it. I'm not saying you should. As a matter of fact, you should consider just using a Lantern instead, because Lantern has pretty good moves, good bulk. Its only problem is it can't really spam moves because all it has is Spark, Thunderbolt, or Hydro Pump. You can also go with Water Gun, but Spark does better against the meta. Another baby, another baby, another baby, another baby. Togetic has like Flamethrower or something, but its other moves are awful. Is too small. Xatu can beat counter users pretty well. It's pretty much used to be the ultimate anti-counter before Drift Blim was added to the game. Flaffy is an awful electric type. But Ampharos is solid Spice. It's got Volt Switch, Focus Blast, and Stone Edge, which are pretty unique and help it stand out in its own way. Mega Ampharos is slightly frailer, but comes with Dragon typing, which means Dragon Pulse Stab, so if you're ever in a tournament where Mega Ampharos is allowed, yeah, go for it, I guess. Blossom is not really that good of a Leaf Blade spammer, but Leaf Blade spam is really good in Open Great League, so it gets to be in the spicy tier. You know, they're all pretty good. Alright, Marill is way too small. Now here we go. Our second major core meta Pokemon, Azumarill. It needs no introduction, but we'll just assume you haven't been playing Go Battle League or PvP for the past 3 years, in which case, yeah, it's got amazing moves, amazing bulk, amazing typing, the whole package. Sudowoodo, Fuckawodo, okay, whatever it is. It's got good moves, decent bulk, not a whole lot else to say. It's got counter. It kind of wishes it had a move that was spammier than Stone Edge or Earthquake. Yeah, that's what it wants. It wants like Rock Slide or some shit. That would be meta. Politoed is just meta. I think the Weather Ball nerf knocked it down for me like core meta ever, just kind of meta, but it's still very, very good. Hoppip and Skiploom are Jump Left way too small. Skiploom, I think it is definitely very good. I would say kind of spicy. Like, it's interesting to see. It gets kind of fucked by ice types though, but if you run Dazzling Gleam on it, it can surprise Altaria and maybe win. Sunflora has some good nukes, but is very frail. We're gonna put it in extremely spicy for now. Yanma is... where do we put Yanma? I'm gonna put it in not very good. It has Air Slash, Silver Wind, and Ancient Power as its best moveset. Fucking yikes, man, that's awful.
Hooper is too small. Quagsire. Gotta love the sire. I would say he's just normal spicy. He's a pretty decent mud boy. Again, he kind of has a problem that Sudowoodo has, where actually, yeah, they have the same charge moves, which actually wait, no, Quagsire is acid spray too. If you want to try to bait with that, Espeon is just not very good. And Umbreon, I don't think Umbreon is core meta, but it is absolutely meta. This guy is everywhere. Very, very bulky. I've ever gone up against one. I think it might be one of the 5 bulkiest Pokemon in the entire game or something. Murkrow, I don't think needs much of an explanation because this is like feint attack and other generic fly moves or something. Slowking. Yeah, Slowking is pretty bad. It only has the nukes and confusion, so it's barely gonna be using charge moves. It has okay bulk and typing, but it's only gonna use like 1 or 2 charge moves anyway. Misdreavus has it's just worse Dusclops. Literally just worse Dusclops in every single way. Wobbuffet is not core meta, but it beats a ton of meta stuff, and if you're walking one like I am, it is absolutely worth it. I would highly recommend Wobbuffet. Girafarig just has Confusion, Psychic, Thunderbolt, or Mirror Coat. We don't talk about Mirror Coat. Extremely spicy, very frail, but can do a lot of damage. Now, I think I've seen Fortress in Open Great League maybe once or twice, but we're gonna give the spicy ranking because it has good moves. Its only problem is, again, its best bait move is Mirror Shot, which is painful to see. Dunsparce is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, so it does hurt to put him in not very good. I mean, he has Drill Run and Rock Slide, which are both great and pretty good bulk, but Bite is just dog shit. It being too harsh, extremely spicy, I guess, verging on not very good. Gligar, spicy for sure. It's very bulky. Dies the ice moves, but yeah, it's got Wing Attack, I think, Night Slash, and Return, which is not bad. Steelix, I feel like, is actually pretty good, but the only problem is it's completely outclassed by G-Fisk. Dragon Tail was buffed, I guess, so now it can kind of be considered spicy. Yeah, I could probably use this thing in an Open Great League match and come out ahead. Can't wait for Mega Steelix. That thing's gonna be so fucking bulky, man. Grand Bull's interesting because it can run 2 different movesets. Yeah, it's a Charmer, so I guess it's meta by definition. It could go with Snarl in close combat too, which definitely fucks a lot of stuff up. Quillfish. Quillfish is basically worse Tentacruel, so it's gonna be in spicy along with Tentacruel because it is faster at spamming its moves, so that's a plus. Scizor, or Sizer, or whatever, that's really good moves. It's a little frail, but we're just gonna put in spicy. There's nothing wrong with Scizor, really. Shuckle. I do think Shuckle's pretty funny. It's got way too much bulk, but that's all it has. It's in bad. Maybe you could like get a timeout with it or something. Heracross is just regular spicy. It's got a lot of good moves. It's got that Rock Blast buff, which means it can now bait, which is always incredible to see. Big boy Heracross is not in the game yet. Sneasel is worse Weavile, so it is just kind of in not very good. Weavile itself is extremely spicy. We'll get to that later. Teddiursa is basically worse Snorlax, but it does more damage. So we are going to put that in extremely spicy as well. Ursaring has Counter, which you'd love to see. So it's basically just better Teddiursa. Only issue is Teddiursa is cuter, but that doesn't count for viability. Unfortunately, if it did, we all know Dunsparce would be OP. Or at least BBML. Macargo is, there are too many waters and grounds for it to not die instantly. So extremely spicy and open. I think Piloswine is alright and open. I think it might be better Mamoswine.
but that's not really saying a whole lot in Great League anyway. Corsola is it's very bulky. I would say it's regular spicy. It has bulb beam bait as well. Of course, it dies any grass type, but other than that, it is not that bad. Unfortunately, Galarian Corso is not in the game, which is a shame because this thing looks like it has a super fun. It's gonna have a super fun moveset, I bet. Octillery. Now, Octillery is super glassy, which means unfortunately, even though it has amazing nukes and bait moves and mudshot, it's still just kind of okay spice. Mantine. Is Mantine meta? I've barely seen it anymore, but I feel like it would be weird to put in spicy, so I'm just gonna put in kind of spicy. Yeah, that feels right. Skarmory I think is actually core meta. It's the best one of the best anti-grasses in the game, and I see it all the time. Still, after all these years and probably a few nerfs, it's still going. Houndoom is extremely spicy because it has Snarl and Crunch and Flamethrower, which are all good moves, but again, it's super frail. It doesn't really have a lot going for it. Same with Mega Houndoom. But yeah, being weak to counter is obviously a big negative here. Kingdra, of course, is probably just spicy. This isn't really Kingdra's fault, but I swear every time someone uses Kingdra, they always try to bait with Okazuka instead of just going straight Outrage. It never works out. And Donphan has really good moves, but still pretty frail, so it has to be an extremely spicy. It feels so weird to put a counter user this low, but we gotta do. Porygon 2 is kind of bulky. I think if it did a better bait move than Tri Attack, it could just be regular spice I would consider using more. But that's not the case. Stantler is dogshit moves. Smeargle has the best move pool in the entire game, no question, but it maxes so low and it can only have one move, so I won't even really think about it. Hitmontop. Medicham kind of replaced Hitmontop. Hitmontop is definitely good, like really good in Great League. Just not really seen that often. Smoochum, extremely spicy. Has a better move set than Jinx, I believe. A little glacier. And Elekid max is way too low for not enough bulk. Bad. Magby has actually a pretty fun moveset, like Karate Chop, Brick Break, and Flamethrower, which actually gets a good amount of wins, so it gets to being extremely spicy as well. Miltank is in bad because it has good bulk, amazing charge moves, but stuck with like fucking Pound or something. Maybe Rock Smash. I forget exactly what it is, but I know it's bad. Chansey and Blissey. Chansey's good. Blissey is bad because Blissey's nowhere near as bulky and has the same awful moveset. Raikou is kind of spicy because, you know, it's another Volt switching frail electric type, but this time, this one has Shadow Ball and can also be Shadow itself, so it can do a lot of damage. Thunder Shock is also a side grade for it. A good choice overall. Entei, I think, is spicy. That's a very good moveset, but yeah, wait, it should be an extremely spicy, actually, my bad. It's just as a mediocre moveset. Suicune gets to be in spicy, I would say. With Bubble Beam baits, of course, it's amazing, but baiting itself is something that I consider to be unreliable a lot of the time, so I don't really try to bait a whole lot. Just personal experience here, but I think that Suicune is not super reliable, but if you somehow land your baits correctly, it is pretty good. That's another part of the reason why I don't trust PvPoke ratings a ton, because they love bait moves. This is why Bubble Beam jealous at this top 3, and I just think, what? No, it's way better with all Shadow Ball and Ice Beam. But anyway, Tyranitar's turn. It's kind of like Aerodactyl, a pretty decent smackdowner. It's got Crunch and Stone Edge too, so you can threaten with charge moves, and does even more damage when it's Shadow. Only problem, of course, that it dies pretty fast to charge moves, counter. Ho-Oh, I don't think you can get it unless it's Shadow. So it goes here. And I completely forgot to talk about Lugia too. Lugia is really good. It's like Exotic didn't suck ass, and you can actually get it with trading luck. If you do get it, you should keep it because it actually does really well against the meta. Celebi, unfortunately, it sucks. It is terrible typing in a mediocre moveset with poor coverage. I'm gonna put in not very good. So, I'm going to take a break here because this video would go on for hours if I covered every single generation at once and try to give every Pokemon a fair 10-second or so analysis. So, I just want to say that overall, I think this is a fair assessment. Maybe just change, should this be like, this is kind of like in between meta and spicy. I guess kind of meta is a better term for it. Yeah, I will say though, it is pretty hard ranking every single Pokemon. I'm sure that some of you will disagree with a couple of my choices here, and that's okay. So join me later for part 2, where I go over Hoenn and Sinnoh, and part 3 I plan to do the rest of them. It's gonna be a couple of big videos, so I hope you guys all enjoyed me making this tier list. I know I had fun, and I will catch you soon.